Hey everyone, welcome to week module 6 of English Composition 1. This week you're going to be revising your essay. Please wait until you get my feedback before you really dig into revision, but your peers are going to help you as well because you're going to write peer reviews for each other in the discussion forum to help each other revise. So in order to do that, you're going to need to read a few things about feedback by John Warner, view a video on how to give good feedback about writing, and then read a couple of chapters from your textbook about revising and editing. Let's look at the discussion for the peer review. Now, I'd like to have this in and have you participate by Wednesday, July 6th, because this will help your peer submit their paper by Sunday, because they'll have seen your comments on their essay. Hopefully I will get mine to you by Thursday or Friday. So you'll have plenty of feedback to work with as you're revising for the final version. So what's going to happen here is you're going to trade drafts with polished drafts with your peer in the forum. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach your essay to the forum as a Word document. Or as a PDF, whichever, but it has to be an attachment. And you're going to write a brief post in which you state what your essay is about. You're going to list at least 5 concerns you'd like your peer to address. For example, you could say, do my ideas seem well organized? Is my argument clear? And if not, how could I make it stronger? Whatever you feel is important to improve the quality of your essay should be what your peer addresses in their letter to you. For the feedback to your peer, do the following. Read your peer's essay at least twice. Make note of spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors in the actual essay. If something seems confusing, underline it and put a question mark in the margin. Now, I know that sometimes you'll be unable to do this, and if you don't know how to download the essay and make comments on it and then give it back to your peer, then don't worry about that aspect of it. You can just put your comments like this into the body of your response and just say, I noticed a few spelling errors in your introduction, or watch out for confusing grammar in the 3rd paragraph, something like that. All of your remarks must be directed towards your peer. You could begin by saying something like, thank you for allowing me to read your essay. Respond to the 5 concerns your peer wants you to address, and do this in paragraph form, not in list form. Okay, so sometimes people are, especially first-year writing students, feel nervous about giving this kind of feedback to their peers because sometimes they say to me, I'm not really confident about my own writing skills, so I'm not sure how, to do this for someone else. And trust me, you probably know better than you realize. If you read a sentence and it's not clear to you and you don't understand what the person is trying to say, then that's definitely something you can tell your peer. You don't have to know the exact grammatical problem that's going on in the sentence. You can just say, hey, I was reading this, I read it a couple of times, and I think I know what you mean, but I'm still not quite getting it. Could you maybe clarify your point in this sentence? That's the kind of thing that can be helpful, very helpful to your peers. Okay, so you're also going to be working on the revision of the op-ed with research. Now, you submitted your rough draft already, and that's going to automatically go through turnitin.com. Now, Turnitin is a plagiarism detector, so it'll indicate to me and to you whether or not you have too much information that seems like it was taken from an outside source and not given credit. So that may show up as part of your response from Turnitin. It will also give you information about spelling, grammar, punctuation errors that you'll want to fix through the editing process of your essay. So it's a really helpful tool to use. And when I give you my comments on your rough draft, those comments will also explain how to access that information. You don't have to do anything extra in terms of submitting the essay. Just by the act of submitting your rough draft, it's automatically going to Turnitin. So you're all set there. Okay, so let's take a quick look. Now, as I said earlier, your rough draft, as you know from the rough draft, it could be at least 3 pages, but for the final draft, it has to be at least 5 pages in length. You have to double space it, and as usual, use Times New Roman 12 font. I've received a few assignments where the person uses like 14 font or 16 font. That's not okay, because then what ends up happening is it sort of makes the essay look longer when it's actually not long enough. And I see those things and I notice those things. They don't go past me. I notice it. So please stick with Times New Roman 12 font and not 16 font. Thank you. Using your peers' feedback and feedback you get from me, and feedback that you'll be getting from turnitin.com, you're going to want to make changes to improve your essay. You're going to revise. After you make these changes, you're going to attach a cover letter that will explain what you asked your peer to address, what your peer had to say about these issues, and what changes you made to your essay based on this feedback. This cover letter will be 4 paragraphs in length. Please include it as the first page of your revision. Do not submit it as a separate document. You should also read my feedback and assignments and the edited suggestions generated by Turnitin. This revision of the op-ed is due by Sunday, and revision is required. If I see no evidence of revision in this version of the essay, you risk earning a 0 on this assignment. I can't tell you how many times I've had students give me the same exact essay twice, and I see no evidence of the student trying to improve upon it, make it longer, make it stronger, make any kinds of changes to it. And then that person gets a 0 because they didn't do any work. They just resubmitted the same draft they gave me for the rough draft. So please do not do that. I don't want to see that happen to anybody in this class. If you don't make changes, you've done no work for the final version, and you automatically could get a 0. So please make sure that you revise. Let's take a quick look at the sample cover letter so that you can see what I'm looking for. So you're going to be sending me this letter. Now I have here, Dear Dr. Valladata. If you want to say Dear Christy, you can say that as well. You're going to say, I shared my essay with, and maybe the title in quotation marks, with Jane Doe. Jane Doe obviously is made up. I asked Jane to focus on 5 concerns I have about my draft. These concerns are, and then list your concerns there so that I know what you asked your peer to consider. I really appreciated Jane's feedback. She suggested and then tell me what Jane suggested, your peer suggested. Now that I've revised this essay, you will notice that I changed the following. Then tell me the things that you changed in your essay. Include some kind of closing statement here. For example, this has been a challenging process, but I believe I have learned a lot. Sincerely, your name. Now, all these things, these parts in here that I'm telling you what to say, and then, you can use your own variation on it. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm telling you to say here, but I do want the information about what your essay title is, what concerns you had, what your peer had to say, and the changes that you made. But you don't need to use all the exact same wording if you don't want to. But then you're going to say sincerely and add your name at the end. And I'm going to read these before I look at the final version of your essay. This gives me an idea of what you were focusing on as you were making changes to your work. Okay. Now, one thing that I do want us to remind you about with the peer review, you only have to do 1. So I do want it to be pretty in-depth. Normally I ask you to respond to at least 2 people. In this case, only 1. However, when you go in to help somebody and give them feedback, if they already have feedback from someone else, please find somebody else to work with, because sometimes a student will end up with no feedback from a peer because no one got to them. And then another person will have 2 or 3 responses from peers. So if you go in and there's a lot of people who've posted essays, check and see who's already received feedback, because a person doesn't need more than 1 peer review. Everybody should have at least one. If something happens and you're the person who doesn't have a peer review to work with, keep in mind that you will still get my feedback to help you revise, and you'll still have the Turnitin information to help you revise. So in that case, if it's me who's giving you the feedback and only me and not a peer, then you can write your cover letter to me based on what I suggested you do to change your essay. So that's a way to handle that situation if it comes up. Now, as usual, please ask your questions about the op-ed paper in the forum provided for that. Please do not ask me an important question about the essay the night before it's due. I may not see it, and then you may not get the response you need before the deadline. So I know that sometimes it's hard to sit down and get work done, but if you can read the instructions and think about things early in the week, and then if you have a question that you're wondering about, you can ask me sooner than the night before. It's really important that you keep that in mind, because that's not super helpful to you if you're waiting so long to ask me an important question. Also, please do not ask me an important question in the comments section of the actual assignment. I've been getting too many comments and questions in that comment section, and I don't see them right away. So please don't do that, because I won't necessarily see the comments you make on your assignment after I've graded it. If it's something that you want to tell me as you're submitting the assignment, that's great. Maybe you want to tell me that you had trouble formatting something, or it's a day late and you're sorry about that and you want to tell me that. That's all of that is fine. But please don't ask me an important question based on my comments to you and say, okay, well, I saw that you said this, but what do you mean by blah, blah, blah? If you're still confused about something, email me. Do not ask the question there, because I may not see it. So please, please, please keep that in mind. As usual, it would be great if you could do the Module 6 survey and continue to use the virtual coffee house for little chats. I think that that's a great thing to be taking advantage of. Okay, everyone. Well, that's all I have for you for today. I'm really excited to read your rough drafts later this week. And again, if you have questions, you can always use the inbox here and contact me, or email me through your WSCC account, or ask the question in the discussion forum. Have a great day, everyone.